I want you to receive this as a teacher, as an educator, and as a Standard 5 student. Because what we're doing, the first part that you saw, it's actually what I do in the classroom with the students. We don't take as much time as we took. We take about a half hour to speak, and I usually just share 4 characters. Because if you give too many choices, I don't know if you've already experienced this, if you give them more than maybe 3 or 4, they get brain freeze over, what do I choose? What do I choose? It's okay, it doesn't, just one of them's fine. Oh, what do I choose? So usually just 4 characters and talk about the details. And then the next part is the actual, the writing portion. So everyone's got out their paper, which is great. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a short introductory paragraph. What do you want your reader to learn in that first paragraph? Any ideas? Yeah, the setting. So you've got the setting where the story takes place. So your introductory paragraph, it's giving you the where of the story. Fancy way to say that is the setting. And the overall goal with your story and with your introductory paragraph and with the follow-up that we're going to do, the explode a moment where you're describing minute by minute, you're painting a picture with words. If you think of it that way, you're not telling your reader, you're showing them. And there's a big difference with showing and telling in a story. If I say, Tata Duende lives in the forest. If I say, Tata Duende lives under a lush canopy of ceiba trees, which one gave you the photo in your mind? The second one, exactly. So you want to show, not tell. You want your reader to have a picture in their mind. And if you think of that when you're teaching, kids really are so technologically advanced now, everywhere. That idea of a photograph, they understand that. So it's a good image to give them when they're writing, to say, can you see that picture in your head? Can you see a photograph from those words? If they say no, what words might you be able to use that you can show a photo? So the introductory paragraph is your where. What other information does it give you, your introductory paragraph? Exactly, the who, the characters, the who. In the story that we're doing today, you're only going to have really yourself in the story, and you're not going to introduce yourself in the first paragraph, just so you know. For today's purposes and this exercise, we're keeping it very simple. So it will be you meeting the character face to face later on. In the introductory paragraph, it's only going to be Ishtabai or Tata Duende, La Llorona, Sisamito, or El Cadejo will be in the introduction. So the where, the who, what else might you want to tell your reader? You were saying a little bit about what the story is about. So I would say for this, it's a short, in this one it's going to be a short what, some of the actions, what the character does. A few actions. For example, for La Llorona, you'd want to tell your reader about why she's always at the riverside. And pretending that your reader doesn't have any information, that they've never met these characters before, is really helpful. So a few actions for the character. The who, the characters. Character traits. Character traits are things like Tata Duende's clever. He's mischievous. He's a trickster. La Llorona is pitifully sad. Ishtabai is clever. She is angry. Ishtabai is sometimes curious. So those are character traits. So things like being curious or clever, that's a character trait. A trickster. It gives some more information about how the character behaves. With your introductory paragraph, there's ways that you can grab the reader's attention in an interesting way. If you've ever read a book where the first few sentences didn't really interest you, do you continue reading? No. Only if you have to, right? Only if you absolutely have to. And there's times where I can tell often, I don't judge a book by its cover, but I do judge a book by the first 3 pages. So, all right, if they don't grab me, I'm like, forget it. I'm not going to spend all my time. So you want to grab your reader's attention. And there's several ways that you can do that. One of the ways that the students have found really fun is to pose a question, is to ask a question. And they did things like, I'd heard stories about Tata Duende, but I never believed they were real. Do you? And then they would say, after you read my story, you might think differently. Or they would do something where the reader would say, oh, well, maybe I want to continue investigating the story. I wanted to share an actual example. These are written this week by Standard 5 students at Bishop Martin, just so you get to hear